Welcome to the Wiser Talk, produced by Wiser Software Solutions, the premier low-code company of India. Our host today is Abhinanda Ghosh, a veteran of the financial services sector in India with over 30 years of experience. He culminated his service career as the CFO, CIO, and CISO of a public sector general insurance company. Mr. Ghosh is a low-code evangelist and is presently an advisor to WiserGos.
Hello and welcome, my good friends, at the Wiser Talk today. My guest is Sudapalli JP Rao, whom I fondly call JP. JP is a professional of 20 years standing in the domain of international business and also of banking. During his long stint, he has worked closely with banks, agri traders, both organized and unorganized, with storage facilities, with food processing units, etc. For the most part of this very diversified banking journey of his, Mr. Rao has been with ICICI Bank, which, as you know, is one of the leading private sector banks in India. Mr. Rao is credited with scaling up the agribusiness loans in the South Indian region where he has worked by, just hold your breath, 1200%. And later, he also worked with ICICI Bank on things like mortgage loans, farm equipment loans, relationship and debt management, recoveries, etc. That is all aspect of this varied loaning portfolio and business practice. So we are back from the break, and let us continue our delightful conversation with my dear friend JP. JP, you see this virtual banking concept, which is a discomfort of the rural folk. You are very right in saying that it's a mindset problem. But I was thinking during this break that probably this problem would cut both ways. Means while the rural folk who are uninitiated, as you are saying, they may not be very sharp and very educated, technically educated on this side. So they would have that kind of discomfort that I don't know who I'm dealing with. But I was wondering, wouldn't the same concern also devolve upon the banks themselves? A bank branch which is actually sitting, the people of the bank, the employees of the bank are sitting, say far away in Bangalore, and in some rural area, there is a rural marketing associate of the bank who is a single guy, and then he's given a loan, maybe a substantial loan, and then that guy cannot, he's not playing fair with the repayment. There are some defaults, there are some delays and all that. So how does the bank go and reach him? How does the bank catch him? And how does the bank recover its money and all? Wouldn't this distance problem play on the mind of the bank as well?
The point what you brought up is actually the concern of almost most of the banks which are operating on remote locations, be it of course for us at and even for now also these days a lot of banks lending through mobile like loans they are giving, where customer is at a distance location and bank is at a far off location and all.
Bank even hasn't seen the customer, most likely.
Yes. Yeah. And in lending activity doesn't get completed only by giving loans. I mean, it has to be, even the money has to be recovered. Only then the banking activity is completed.
Okay? Obviously, yeah.
So what we did that to mitigate such kind of risks that arise because of the distances between the bank and the customer,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
some sort of wrong intention getting into a customer on defaulting or delaying the repayments. We have built a lot of early systems like MIS, weekly or monthly MIS on who has made the payment and who has missed on the payments, and we have built things like early warning systems
Ah.
wherever there is frequent delays are happening month on month by some of these
Hmm.
specific borrowers on repayments of their interest and all. And gradually the bank has even gone one step ahead in getting a collection software also built by the vendors.
I would imagine that this would be primarily arising out of the data in respect of the loan, the data in respect of the loany guy, his credit ratings and his transactions, etc. And by cooking this data, perhaps a lot of red flags or alerts, etc., would come up, which would help in identifying the pain points, the pain areas, and thereby probably the bank can try to nip the problem in the bud. Probably. Now this concept of specialized collection software, which you talked about, that seems interesting. From I have been talking to so many banking friends of mine and ex-colleagues, etc. And what I generally hear is that they seem to have one core banking system, and that's an integrated core banking system. And that's one system itself, it records the giving of the loan, the getting back of the loan and all. I don't recall hearing from anyone that there is a separate or a specialized only collection end of the software, a separate software which is only looking at recoveries and collections. So I would imagine that this would be, this would be a difference that the thing that ICICI Bank is doing differently from the others. What do you say to that?
Innovation has been the DNA of ICICI Bank from the beginning. Now, in every field,
Yeah,
lending,
I do
uh,
agree.
be it lending, be it branch operations, anywhere. I mean, it has been the excessive or the usage of technology is very high. Now, bank also have realized this challenge of connecting with the customer at a far off location with the bank, which is based in few locations, the branches. So what bank did is that they have worked with vendors in getting a collection software built. Now, what this collection software does is the information of the borrower in terms of his dues that are to be paid, or in terms of his past dues that are still pending, that has not been paid, and the amount of dues, the quantum of dues that needs to be paid.
Yeah.
Information this software generates for the bank from the loan management system. It gets integrated, and then from there, this information is percolated down in a uniform way till the last person who is in and out on a frequent basis meeting the customer. So this helps the person who's meeting the customer on a regular basis.
Yeah. Of course. He is now armed with information, and whatever the customer says, the defaulting customer says, I'm sure he can parry him and he can counter him with hard facts. Yeah. So that would certainly, but which means that the same set of data and the same conclusions therefrom are visible both to the central controlling branch as well as to the associate who is representing ICICI Bank to the customer.
Correct.
Yeah, that would certainly breed some kind of synergy, and they'll all be on the same page.
And this is beneficial in one thing is that he can speak, the person who is interacting with the customer can speak the same in the same tone, in the same language as a banker.
Correct.
How I would speak if at all I have to be there physically present. So this technology has made him to speak in the same tone, in the same language, and without any ambiguity. So it
Yes,
is
yes, that
it is
that
actually,
was very well said. Yeah,
yeah, it is actually
technology
enabled
has
him.
given him the enablement.
Correct.
They're both speaking the same language. Yes, 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 yes. And that, of course, it helps. It helps both ways. It also helps in building up the confidence of the representative who is going to the customer.
Very true. Very
He's
true.
armed with the facts and figures. No. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Very true. It's because it has empowered him to speak in the tone of a banker, to speak
Yes.
from the perspective of the implications of the not repayment of a loan, okay,
Mm.
on his continuance of the relationship with the bank in future, and also the kind of obstacles or kind of bottlenecks that it will put in place in terms of
Ah.
he get any further or loans and loan enhancement in future.
Hmm. Right, 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 right. See, the picture that you have painted of the banking industry as it has evolved up to now is quite radical, especially how the banking or modern banking, smart banking has reached out to the rural space where there was hardly any good banking, hardly any smart banking, modern products, services, etc. Can you give me a sort of illustration as to how a guy who is in the rural space, he's got a rice mill there, but there is no ICICI bank in that space. How can he conduct business, get a loan, or keep an account, maintain an account in the ICICI bank? How can he actually do that? He also needs to withdraw hard money. It's not all virtual. He has to withdraw cash sometimes. How could he do that?
I will give a small example of which we have seen in a place like Gangavati in Karnataka, that is close to 350-400 kilometers away from Bangalore. When we started
Acha,
off,
Gangavati. Okay,
yeah,
okay.
when we started off our lending in 2004, that is actually a prime rich paddy belt with lot of rice
Okay.
mills, close to
I
like if you have to put all the people who are dealing in paddy or rice, it will be around close to 100 odd traders,
Hmm.
processors, and all will be there. So when we
Hmm.
reached out to them, in fact the question what you raised, I faced similar question. So they said, how do we do transaction? Because your branch is not there. I would need cash in account.
Yes.
Okay.
Huh.
This was a question. The answer was very simple. We said, see, you got an internet banking facility given. Now you can always transfer your funds from the bank or from the ICICI bank loan account to your bank account wherever in whichever branch you are having in your local cooperative bank. Because most of these people have used to operate from a local cooperative banks. They
Yeah,
used
yeah,
to
yeah, I know.
have a
District Central Cooperative Banks.
correct,
And
correct,
also there is the whole network of regional rural banks.
exactly.
These
So they
two
had
networks are very active in the rural space. Yeah.
you are already dealing with them. They were having account there. They are operating their regular accounts from them. So we said
Hmm.
that see, you can transfer it to your account and to your local cooperative branch,
Hmm.
and then you can just go there and withdraw cash from the your account easily. And whenever you
Hmm.
have to do the transfer or the depositing of the money, you can always
Hmm.
likewise do it. Whenever you have a money you receive from your buyers, you go and
Hmm.
deposit in your account in your nearest cooperative branch, and then you ask for them to do an online transfer. They do it to the loan account, and the money gets transferred to the online through online facility. It reaches the ICICI bank. That was one. The second option was most of these cooperative banks also we were having relationship with ICICI bank. Okay, they were
Okay.
having some
Tie
kind of.
up. You mean a tie up kind of thing?
I wouldn't exactly say tie up. In some cases, it was a tie up. One was that one way of arrangement was tie up. The other one was that where they were having already their accounts with ICICI bank. They were parking their surplus funds with us. So what they were doing is whenever an ICICI customer used to approach that particular cooperative bank, cooperative banks by virtue of their limitations in terms of lending beyond certain amount, they were comfortable with their customers borrowing from ICICI bank. So this
Okay.
particular customer, when they go to the cooperative bank with ICICI bank check, saying that I want this particular amount to be withdrawn. Okay, I have this ICICI bank account. Okay, the nearest branch was Hubli. So this is
Yeah.
what my
That's
account
far
is.
away.
Yeah, very far away. It was almost 150 kilometers. So then all that they have to do is they present this, and the cooperative bank, by virtue of the relationship or the connectivity with the ICICI bank, used to cash it out to him. He used to they used to release cash against that check, and then ICICI, they used to present the check to ICICI bank, and ICICI bank in turn used to transfer it to their primary account of the cooperative bank.
Sorry, I didn't get the last bit. ICICI Bank will transfer to
the cooperative bank account. They will transfer the funds to the cooperative bank.
Oh, so then to me, it appears like a via media kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like there is the ICICI Bank branch at Hubli. There is the Cooperative Bank branch at Gangavati.
Yeah.
And there is a rice mill owner in Gangavati.
Correct.
So he has opened an account in Gangavati Cooperative Bank. He also has an account which has been opened virtually in Hubli branch of ICICI.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just trying to paint a picture. That's all.
Correct.
And he has got a checkbook of ICICI Bank in which he is writing a check worth 1 lakh rupees. He is depositing that check to the cooperative bank, and the cooperative bank is giving him 1 lakh rupees and taking that check. And that very check, the cooperative bank is now depositing with ICICI Bank's their account in ICICI Bank, and ICICI Bank is honoring that check and putting in that 1 lakh rupee in the cooperative bank account. Is that
Right.
the chain?
Correct.
So it sort of adds a layer, a via media, but of course it would be having the advantage of branchless banking by ICICI
Exactly.
Bank. So okay.
See,
Yeah,
in fact,
please tell me.
now see what we used to do it at that time in terms of transactions. Now the same thing is slowly moving into lending also.
Okay.
You might have heard about a term called co-lending.
Yeah.
So where banks are, like now trying to reach out to the customers in a far-flung areas where the banks do not have presence, through the non-banking financial corporations who have already have a presence here.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, please.
Like?
NBFCs, non-banking financial corporations.
Yeah, NBFCs. Yes. That's right. See, you have painted a very pretty picture of the banking industry and a picture of a very fast evolution up to now. And I must say the picture painted is quite radical. Like even 20 years back, these things were almost beyond our imagination, and now we are going from one technology to another, and already the first steps of technology are looking at obsolescence. The banking today is quite unrecognizable from the the banking scene in the yesteryears, a couple of decades ago. Now I wonder, has the banking service domain, has it reached its saturation, or is there more to come? Are there more conveniences, more comforts, more facilities that we can give to the end customer in the near future, or maybe by a further evolution of technology?
Yes, Avinando. Actually, with so much of technological advancement taking places, now there is basically lot of process automations happening within the banks. You might have heard about things like rapid credit decision making. There are things like customer onboarding.
What is that?
It is basically now these days you need not have to get a physical set of documents of the customer at your branch or at your bank. to take a decision in terms of whether the credit has to be given or not. Now, a lot of things like customer onboarding through digital channels is happening. Your customer can himself log in to the mobile applications of the banks, and then he can just upload his requirements with the relevant documents, and these particular documents travels through a digital mode to the technology service providers who does the due diligence of the bank statements, then they do the due diligence of the financial statements, and then they throw to the certain they calculate the eligibility, and they give a trigger to the bank that this is the eligibility of this particular customer on these grounds, and this will be scoring. Okay.
This in fact it sounds like a business process automation altogether.
Exactly. Now, what is happening is these are all happening with things like robotic process automation coming in place. This is because of robotic process automation happening in place. You do not need any human intervention. Okay, so the entire thing is done by the technology and all. And then the second factor is that with so much of automation happening in place, a customer, whenever he wants, he can get the credit sitting at the convenience of his home or at his office and all. Meet their business requirements or to meet their personal finance requirements and all. So the human intervention going forward will shrink. It will shrink a lot. Today, whatever processes that are being done by the human beings, or when I say human beings, the credit officials and all, it is slowly going to shrink. There, you do not require too many of the credit managers or too many people in the credit department. When I say credit manager, of course, I do not have any offense against anybody and all. They are doing a good job. But with
it is just the way the landscape is changing.
Yes,
I mean, this is the inevitability of progress.
Correct.
If we really come to think of it, progress will inevitably move in a certain direction, and people have to align themselves to it. That's it.
Yeah. And robotic process automation, RPS, how it will help is they will help in not only avoiding the errors. See, a lot of human errors happen when we do it sourcing of a proposal manual.
Yes.
In terms of punching the name of the borrower or the addresses or the financial figures, sometimes there are errors happen. Okay, those can be avoided. The second important thing is the assessment. The financial assessment can happen much faster with minimum errors, and the interpretation of these financial statements can happen much more effectively. There might be certain aspects sometimes which may get missed out if a person has to do it manually, a credited
manually,
appraiser.
correct. Yeah.
So these processes, it can happen without any error. And third important thing is that it can, the credit delivery will happen very fast.
Very fast, yeah.
Delivery of the credit.
More the automation, faster the operations.
Exactly.
That is a tenet which is decided and it's accepted, well accepted.
And above all, it will reduce the transaction cost per customer source.
That also is true, yeah. With reduction in time, reduction in pay bills, etc., the cost of operation naturally is bound to go down, and that will result in a greater efficiency for the bank. Yeah, of course.
With rising prices of physical branches, setting up, real estate, rising prices of setting up
physical, the banking network, physical network will also come down, I'm sure.
Correct. And the gap between the demand and supply of the skilled persons, okay, which is over and over, every frequently the teams are, like the financial institutions are facing. With all this process automation, all those challenges will go away.
Yeah. So
lastly, the most important point I missed out is these are available for any kind of due diligence from the compliance perspective, from the risk perspective in future also. Today, compliance has become a big issue. Okay, manually,
of course,
a lot of errors happen. You can hide so many things, but technologically wise, you cannot hide anything.
Technology translates into transparency.
Correct.
I have been in technology for the greater part of my life, and I can vouch for that. with technology comes transparency. Yes. So actually, you know, how you have described the banking sector's evolution and the future of banking sector or banking service, it almost borders on the fairy tale, I can tell you, JP. And it's been such a delightful time spending with you and learning about this very pretty picture of the banking sector and the banking space that you painted for me. We've been talking for a long time, and the sun has also set. It's time for us also to go home. Thank you very much, JP, and we'll keep meeting off and on. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Avinando. Thanks. It has been pleasure talking to you, discussing on various aspects. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Right. Thank you, JP. Good night. Yes.